Workers across France strike over budget cut plans. Hundreds of thousands protested across France against government budget cuts. Unions claimed 1 million participants, while the Interior Ministry reported 500,000, deploying 80,000 police. Clashes occurred in Paris, Lyon, and Nantes, with tear gas used in the capital. The strikes follow new Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu's appointment after his predecessor's government fell over unpopular budget proposals. Public transport, schools, and pharmacies were heavily disrupted. Protesters demand more public spending, higher taxes on the wealthy, and the abandonment of proposed cuts. Union leaders vowed relentless opposition, while some politicians urged disciplined protests to avoid violence. Lecornu faces a difficult task in a hung parliament to balance rising public debt with widespread opposition to austerity. Canada and Mexico agree to deepen ties amid Trump trade war. Canada and Mexico have agreed to deepen ties, vowing closer cooperation on trade and security, as both countries grapple with rising economic pressure from the U.S. Following a bilateral meeting in Mexico City, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum also expressed their commitment to a shared partnership with the U.S. "We complement the United States, we make them stronger, and we are all stronger together," Carney told reporters. This is Carney's first official visit to Mexico as Prime Minister, and it marks an effort to reset relations after tensions flared last year when Canadian officials were accused of seeking a separate trade deal with the U.S. during tariff talks. Pakistan, Saudi Arabia signed defense agreement to treat an attack on one as attack on both. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia on Wednesday signed a defense pact pledging that any attack on either nation would be considered an attack on both. The agreement, called the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement, was signed during Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's visit to the kingdom, according to a joint statement issued after his talks with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The agreement states that any aggression against either country shall be considered an aggression against both, according to a statement that was issued by Pakistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Islamabad. The agreement aims to develop aspects of defense cooperation between the two countries and strengthen joint deterrence against any aggression, the statement said. U.S. vetoes an Security Council resolution demanding immediate Gaza ceasefire and hostage release. The United States once again vetoed a UN Security Council resolution Thursday that had demanded an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza and the release of hostages, saying that the effort did not go far enough in condemning Hamas. The 14 other members of the United Nations' most powerful body voted in favor of the resolution, which described the humanitarian situation in Gaza as catastrophic and called on Israel to lift all restrictions on the delivery of aid to the 2.1 million Palestinians in the territory. U.S. opposition to this resolution will come as no surprise, Morgan Ortagus, a senior U.S. policy advisor, said before the vote. It fails to condemn Hamas or recognize Israel's right to defend itself, and it wrongly legitimizes the false narratives benefiting Hamas, which have sadly found currency in this council. Key takeaways from Trump-Starmer news conference. A recent news conference featuring the leaders of the U.S. and the U.K., identified as Trump and Starmer, addressed a range of critical international and domestic issues. The discussions included important topics such as the ongoing situation in Ukraine, global migration challenges, the fundamental principle of free speech, and other significant points, including mentions of Mandelson. This event provided insights into the collaborative efforts and differing perspectives of both nations on pressing political matters. The leaders fielded questions from the media, offering updates and stances on these complex issues, which are vital for understanding current geopolitical dynamics and international relations. The conference underscored the interconnectedness of world politics and the ongoing efforts to address shared global challenges.
Comedy hosts including Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert criticized Kimmel's suspension. Following Jimmy Kimmel's suspension from ABC, late-night host reacted with a mix of satire and serious concern. Jon Stewart, returning to The Daily Show, mockingly praised "Dear Leader" Trump and joked about government-approved content. Stephen Colbert, whose own show is ending, strongly condemned Kimmel's pulling as blatant censorship and a dangerous precedent. Jimmy Fallon expressed concern for Kimmel and vowed his show wouldn't be censored. Kimmel's suspension stemmed from his monologue linking the suspect in conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination to MAGA gang, despite authorities indicating the suspect leaned left. FCC Chair Brendan Carr threatened action against ABC, leading to Nexstar Media Group's affiliates preempting the show, and then Disney's decision to suspend it indefinitely. Trump further suggested revoking licenses of networks critical of him, while many, including Barack Obama, criticized the suspension as an attack on free speech. Trump says TV networks against him should, maybe, lose license after Kimmel suspension. U.S. President Donald Trump suggested revoking TV network licenses, backing the FCC in the suspension of ABC host Jimmy Kimmel. ABC pulled Kimmel indefinitely after he linked the suspect in conservative influencer Charlie Kirk's murder to MAGA Republicans, despite authorities identifying the gunman as having leftist ideology. Trump claimed networks give him excessive negative coverage, questioning their licenses. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr indicated further accountability for broadcasters. Legal experts, however, believe the First Amendment would protect networks from license revocation based on political disagreement. Kimmel's show writers now face uncertainty. Nexstar Media also refused to air Kimmel's show, deeming his comments offensive. The incident ignited a debate. Former President Obama and other Democrats called it dangerous, cancel culture, and censorship, while figures like Dave Portnoy and Piers Morgan viewed it as accountability for offensive remarks. An FCC commissioner criticized the regulatory stance, warning against using violence to justify censorship. Senate confirms 48 Trump nominees in single vote after Republicans went nuclear to speed up confirmations. The Senate confirmed 48 of President Donald Trump's nominees in one sweeping vote Thursday, marking the first block confirmed after Republicans voted to change Senate rules to speed up the consideration of nominees. Those confirmed included Kimberly Guilfoyle as the ambassador to Greece, Christine Toretti as the ambassador to Sweden, and Callista Gingrich as the ambassador to Switzerland and Liechtenstein. Former GOP Rep Brandon Williams was also confirmed as Undersecretary for Nuclear Security. The move by Senate Republicans comes after last week. They pushed through a change to Senate rules using the so-called nuclear option over the objections of Democrats. The rules change allows nominees to be considered en bloc, or as a group, as tensions have grown over several months between the two parties over the backlog of Trump's nominees awaiting Senate confirmation. TikTok deal looms as China talks stall. Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping are slated to talk on Friday to finalize a framework for Beijing-based ByteDance to sell the U.S. version of its popular social media app to a consortium of U.S. buyers, while keeping control of TikTok's prized algorithm. This is seen by critics as a major concession, highlighting limited progress in broader U.S.-China trade talks, where the U.S. faces a weak negotiating hand. Despite Trump's past tough rhetoric and tariffs, China has largely resisted U.S. demands, using counter-tariffs and export restrictions to its advantage. While the TikTok deal offers a specific win, many question if the overall trade strategy justifies the economic disruption, or if it's merely a superficial victory. The administration maintains it's strategically countering China's global influence, though its public messaging has softened. Wall Street sets records as tech stocks rally. On September 18, 2025, Wall Street experienced a significant surge, with major U.S. stock indexes reaching new records, primarily driven by a strong rally in technology stocks. This upward trend highlights the continued influence of the technology sector on market performance and overall economic growth. Investors showed confidence in tech companies, leading to a robust day on the exchanges. This development is a key indicator of the current health and direction of the U.S. markets, with technology playing a pivotal role in shaping business news and economic outlooks. The rally reflects a broader positive sentiment towards innovative industries and their potential for sustained expansion.